So, in my island update for this week, I have a crime alert for you if you're hoping to come over here to Mallorca for the final 6 weeks of the holiday season. Plus, I have news of a demonstration which took place in Palma last night. And as I always do in my island update, I've got the cruise news and the all-important weather forecast for the week ahead. But I'm starting this video on the far side of Palma Nova. I'm right beneath the Leonardo Royale Hotel. And this is actually take 2 of a video which I made over in the Foodinetta Cafe. I was reviewing the footage on the way back to the car and it was absolutely terrible because I'm so tired. So I'm actually filming this all over again. But I did meet some lovely people over there. So it was great to meet you this morning. But yep. This is a take 2. Anyway, we are going to start this video off on a serious note actually, and I've started to see Facebook posts, social media posts popping up a warning of pickpockets around the island because, well, there have been a few victims lately, and I know many of you don't like these kinds of videos, but they do help holidaymakers. And if this video stops one person from being pickpocketed, well, it's been worth making. I'm just going to put my sunglasses on because you can see down here actually, and I will get onto the weather in just a moment, that we have had quite varying weather today actually. We've had weather of all seasons and a temperature drop too, but more about that later. But anyway, moving on to the whole point of this video as well. And well, it has been very busy over here in Mallorca and surprisingly busy for autumn. And well, I think this busyness is going to continue right on to the end of the holiday season, to the 31st of October. And I do know that many of you are coming over here on holiday, which is why I'm making this video. And I'm going to give you some real life, some real world examples as well of crime over here and from viewers' experiences and from what I've seen on social media too. So I just want to highlight a post that was made on another Facebook group, not the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group, but another Facebook group saying, my daughter and her boyfriend have just had their phones stolen on Palma Nova Beach. Be careful. Now, if you've been watching the content, if you've been watching the channel earlier on this year, you'll know when I've been out and about making videos that I have highlighted on the main Calvia beaches, so Palma Nova, Magaluf, Santa Ponsa and Peguera. There are huge lockers that you can rent for a day for just €1 and somewhere that you can keep your valuables if you're going into the sea. Now, I really do encourage that you use these. Please use these lockers. They only cost €1. Do not leave your valuables on the sand and then go swimming, because the chances are that they could go missing while you're in the sea. Alternatively, bring over a waterproof phone case or a waterproof bum bag and take that to the beach with you. But please don't leave an expensive mobile phone on the beach, because just in the case of this person posting, they can and they will be stolen. But good news is that most of the sun umbrella rentals around the island now have security boxes attached to them. So if you are renting beach beds, the chances are if you're getting an umbrella with that, you are going to have a lockbox that comes along with that as well. So that is good news. But if you don't have any of that and you're going to the beach, particularly if you're travelling solo, please make sure that you bring your own waterproof bum bag, waterproof phone case with you, and just don't leave stuff on the sand. Also, as well, be aware of distraction techniques, because these are now the #1 reason why people are being pickpocketed on the island. And we did have a post over on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group which said, just a heads up, after reading a previous post, I was stopped by a couple of young people with lanyards on. And the guy asked if we spoke English. He was very polite and he had a €2 coin in his hand and he wanted us to change it into smaller change. I immediately told him that we had no change after reading a previous comment, so thanks for sharing. And we were in a busy part of Palma. Also as well, another comment on here as well said, a very well dressed Spanish guy stopped us last April in Calabona and said, I will give you €2 if you give me €1 in exchange for the car park. We just looked at him and walked on. So he must have thought, oh, I'll catch these old people out. We weren't born yesterday. Now, you know, this whole asking for change is the #1 pickpocketing scam which is currently operating around Mallorca at the moment. Just for reference, you don't actually need change to pay for your parking. You can now pay by credit or by debit card. You don't actually need change. And also, there's free parking just about everywhere in all the major resorts as well. So please, you know, please do not fall for this. Do not fall for this common pickpocketing tactic. A viewer actually commented, and this is hilarious, he said, you should have just replied, sorry, but I don't speak English, and just carry on, you know, just walk off still speaking English. But my biggest piece of advice is don't engage with these people, ignore them and walk off. Do not even think about getting your wallet out, because you may well find your wallet later on disappearing. A viewer said actually on this same post, it said, it happened to me in June in Porto Poyensa. Luckily I knew something wasn't right, so I never got my purse out. So we're talking car parks here in Andrach, in Poyensa, in Porto Poyensa. For some reason, pickpocketers also think that that holidaymakers in these destinations are in some way affluent and they're easy targets. Just like in Calabona as well, we have quite an older demographic of holidaymaker holidaying over there. So watch out, because these guys, these pickpocketing guys and girls are about. Also, another post on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group, warning of a group of boys asking us for the time. And my other half replied that we didn't have our watches. And she actually said if it wasn't for her partner, she probably would have got her phone out. And as she walked past as well, she noticed that one of the group actually had a mobile phone on them, which displays the time, obviously. So she wanted to know if this was a distraction technique. Now, this could well be the case, because we have heard of cases over here when people get their phones out, they get their wallets out, and next thing they've been taken. But David commented, watches are stolen constantly here. They work out that if you're wearing an expensive watch, a Rolex being a favourite, then they'll rob it from you. And they have different tactics for doing this, and they are professional. And well, we have seen reports about this in the local media this summer. John Franklin over on the YouTube channel said, another piece of advice I'd offer is not to wear an expensive or recognisable watch when out and about. Just put the glasses back on again, because getting mugged for a Rolex, whether real or fake, is a genuine risk, as thieves are well able to spot various Rolex brands. So, you know, and just by glance as well. So please, if you're coming over here, maybe leave your Rolex at home, locked away safely in the safe. In addition, Johnny over on the YouTube channel said, also be aware of leaving mobile phones on tables in open air restaurants, because a friend of mine lost his phone this way. Also, really good point as well, just don't leave your phone out. Somebody can easily come over to a table, put a piece of paper on top of it, maybe with a sign or something, and then just have your phone away when they move away from the table. It's a very common pickpocketing technique, just watch out for that. Also, watch out at busy bus stops, especially at the airport bus stop. I made a video all about that at the beginning of the summer. I'll drop a link to that in the description text below, just to see how thieves are operating over at Palma airports, which will be the case at any airport you go to, anywhere basically in the world. But just be aware that thieves also operate there. Indeed, as well, at bus stops on a cloudy or rainy day when they're particularly busy, and also at marketplaces. Subscriber named Chappie says, last year I was pickpocketed in Alcudia on a market day. I'm always on alert with my bags and my wallet, but despite this, it did happen. So always stay alert and do not get distracted, and keep all your valuable stuff in the safe or keep it very close to you. So once again, my advice is only take out enough cash that you need. If you're going to the beach, take enough cash you need for a few drinks to the beach or something to eat, or just take out the money that you're going to need for the day. You don't need to take out a whole wad of cash or all your spending money. Keep the rest of it in your hotel safe. But the warning here as well, the crime alert, does extend to renting a car over here in Mallorca. Angus said over on the YouTube channel, he said, last year we were robbed of €150 from our car, a locked car as well, over on the Playa de Moro. The car was also locked when we'd returned to it, and we now believe that some people who were hanging around when we arrived were able to clone our remote signal. Open the car, take the cash and relock it. So please be aware of this too. Do not leave your stuff in cars is the message in that comment. Backpacks too. If you're out and about exploring around the island, be careful taking out backpacks. Buzznat said over on the YouTube channel, I was wearing a backpack when I was pickpocketed in Palma. It was so quick. She jumped into me and my wallet was gone. Now I've got a front sitting bag, and I'm hoping next time I'll be safe, although I'll always be more aware now. Now I'm always seeing people with backpacks on their backs, sitting on their backs, walking through the resorts and just, literally being targets for pickpockets. Please be careful. Please keep your bags under your arm, keep them front facing, and just know where your belongings are at all times, because these people, they really are professionals. They're very, very good at their jobs. But I think my biggest message in this video actually is to please take out travel insurance with you. Take out travel insurance, and just also a few safety measures as well. Take a photocopy of your passport, take a printed out copy of your travel insurance if you need it. Leave your belongings in a safe as well, everything like a spare credit card, some cash, your passport. Do not take things like this out with you. If you're out and about sightseeing on the islands, leave the bulk of it at your hotel or your villa or whatever in a safe. Also as well, make a note of your IMEI number, I think I've said that correctly, from your mobile phone. I'll just drop the number that you need to dial to get a copy of that too, because the police are going to need it. For you to report a phone that has been stolen, you are going to need to your IMEI number, otherwise you're not going to get that police report. That's super important. Make a note of that and leave that with somebody before you go on holiday. But also as well, really important to know that if, for example, your mobile phone has been taken and you are able to track its location on another device, do not think that the police are going to jump up from behind their desks and to drive to whichever area of the island where your phone is located to retrieve it for you, because they won't. And I've heard of viewers that this has happened to as well. They won't retrieve your phone for you, but they will give you a police report to say it's been stolen if you have got your IMEI number. So there just are not resources in place for them to chase down your belongings. I also have to say as well, if you have had your wallets taken anywhere in resorts as well, do check nearby bins, because normally these thieves are just after the cash. You can't track cash, but they may just dump your wallets with your credit cards or ID or whatever into a nearby bin. But finally, I want to say as well, please don't be worried about this video. Come over, be aware, and like I always say in all of my videos, just because you're on holiday, the thieves won't be, and they're going to be aware of that. So keep your wits about you, just be aware of your surroundings, and just be aware of who is around you as well. But come over, have an amazing time, but just keep this video in the back of your mind if you're over here on holiday, or in fact if you're going anywhere else on holiday as well. Just really look after your stuff and don't be a victim of crime. Okay, so moving on to the demonstration that took place in Palma yesterday. And well, it's going to be a little bit surprising actually, because you're going to think I'm talking about a different kind of demonstration, but I'm actually talking about the continued use of horses and carts around the island. And these horses and carts that basically take tourists to different parts of the island. And we're talking in particular here about the horses and carts which operate around Palma Cathedral. I'm talking about the horses and cart in Siliot, Sakoma, and Cala Milor too. Now they have been largely banned up in Alcudia. You'll know that we've got tuk-tuks up there now. There are a couple of horses and carts left, but this hasn't gone far enough actually. And well, residents were out in force in Palma protesting about the continued use of horses and carts. So what can you guys do to help? Well, I would say if you're coming over here on holiday, maybe consider means of transport. There are plenty of buses, plenty of taxis, and in some places they're now tuk-tuks for getting around the islands. You can also rent bikes, you can rent safari bikes, or just use your own 2 feet. But please just bear in mind that not a summer goes by when we don't hear about horses collapsing because of the weight of the tourists that they're dragging around the city, or indeed just from high temperatures as well. And it is very, very distressing to see horses collapsing in the heat. And like I said, locals have been protesting about this, and they want this whole horse and cart activity to be banned. So maybe consider how you're getting around. I just think there are better ways of getting around Mallorca that doesn't involve using these animals. Okay, also, and one thing I didn't mention yesterday in my live stream from over in Siliot to Sakoma, go back and watch that video if you haven't done so already, but we are in tourist week over in the Calabona, San Lorenzo, Cala Milor area as well, in Siliot area. Look out for plenty of events happening and taking place. If in doubt, ask at your hotel, but there should be some fireworks as well taking place next Sunday from one of these areas. So like I said last week as well, while summer summer may well be over. We still have plenty of local fiestas happening, and this week it is the turn of the whole Cala Milor area. So if you're staying over there, you can be in for a treat this week. Okay, so cruise news for the week ahead. Well, this is going to be particularly important because we do not have days of endless sunshine this week, and for that reason as well, key old towns and also Palma City is going to feel particularly busy. We have a total of around 50,000 cruise ship passengers arriving into Palma City this week. The busiest day is going to be on Saturday, with 14,000 passengers arriving on the Ida Cosma, the Morella Voyager and the Silver Ray cruise ships. The quietest day will be on Thursday. That's going to be the 25th of September. We've only got 1,300 passengers arriving on that day. What's this going to mean to you? Well, it's going to mean that I think Palma is going to be very, very busy this week, particularly because just like today, we've got a slightly cloudy day and we are going to have unsettled weather for the week ahead. Bear this in mind if you're heading on into Palma. You may need a little bit of extra patience, but this week is going to be pretty busy in Palma City, which leads us on to the all-important weather forecast for the week ahead. So we have had a temperature drop overnight. Everyone in Mallorca, residents are celebrating that temperatures have cooled down slightly because the temperatures have been very high and very oppressive. But the good news is that with a slight temperature drop, it means that you can get out and enjoy a little bit more of the islands if you are over here on holiday. Don't worry if you're coming over though, please don't worry. We've got highs this week of 28 degrees Celsius. We are going to have plenty of sunshine, but we are going to have a risk of showers, a much higher risk of showers as the week goes on as well. You can see we started Monday today with a shower, got up this morning to a bit of a shower. The sun has been coming in and out and it is very, very warm here, so don't worry too much if you're coming over. However, I'm issuing my first warning for evening lows of 15 degrees Celsius, so please, for the first time since summer started, please bring over a light jacket or a cardigan or a shawl or something if you're going out, if you plan on going out this week in Mallorca. We're going to have the return of slightly cooler evenings and slightly cooler temperatures, which is going to be actually better for sleeping as well. Just be aware as well, like I've always said in my videos, if we do have a cloudy or a rainy day, Palma City is going to be busy. The busier days are going to be today on Monday and possibly tomorrow on Tuesday, but as the week goes on, we're going to see sunshine mixed up with clouds and, like I said, the possibility of showers. Speaking of which, it does feel like it's about to start raining, so on that note, I'm going to drop a couple of videos appearing both here and here on YouTube. Don't forget, you can follow me on the Facebook group and on Instagram as well, also all under Mallorca Under the Sun. I'm going to be out and about around the island too. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll be back here next Monday for another island update. But in the meantime, have an amazing week and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Goodbye for now.